I'm Glenn McGuinness, and this is Outburst. On the program, we honor Canada's men and women in uniform. For many, November 11th is a time of reflection. The sacrifices made by our armed forces has given us the freedoms we enjoy today. So, we took this question to Canadians.
What is the legacy of Canada's men and women in uniform?
The legacy they leave us is peace and a country with hope and with prosperity. And I think we need to remember for what they did to help us achieve that level of peace and prosperity. And it's not so much prosperity as a sense of community and people loving each other.
Legacy of Canadian men and women in uniform is that we live in a peaceful, stable, progressive society, for one. Whether it matches up with their hopes and dreams at the time during their service, whether present-day Canadian Forces members or veterans of the past wars, that's fine. Nobody can forecast the future, but they certainly had a dream of what our country was going to be like, and it's our responsibility as citizens to make that happen.
My sister's in uniform, so I know what the risks they take with their lives every day. So for me, it's about someone, putting their life on the line for us to have and enjoy freedom in Canada.
Very well said. Yeah, I agree with that. I have a friend that was fighting in Croatia in the medic pocket, and a lot of Canadians don't know that our boys were under fire for 48 hours, and a lot of men were lost there. And so I have a understanding of what our guys went through just in the 90s. So that is all part and parcel of World War I and World War II.
Remembering those who have fought for the ability for us to live the lives that we live today. If it wasn't for them, things would be significantly different from how they really are.
I think the legacy, especially for the people that served and lost their lives, is the fact that we have democracy here in Europe, mostly in Europe, and we've pretty well always had it in North America.
The legacy is that these courageous people fought for our country, and have also supported other wars in our history. And obviously Remembrance Day is approaching, and we should continue to honor all of the soldiers living and deceased, I think forever. They're heroes that we should recognize.
I think the legacy is a thing of honor, that these people, sacrificed their time, their energy, and their lives for our freedoms in this great country.
I don't know if it really gets any more clear than in Flanders Fields, really, to be honest. We walked past that monument today on our way to Rideau Hall, and it's just the sacrifices that Canadian men and women have made over the last century and a half and still continue to do so is something that we should never really forget.
It's to protect democracy. I think that's it in a nutshell to me. Yes, it's fighting, it's going here and there, like it or not, but it's protecting democracy even more so today.
Cross that big. That's their legacy. Walking down the street and not being beat up or something. That's their legacy. The having a free government. You can go and vote. That's their legacy. A lot of places you can't do that. So that's it.
One of the things actually that recently I've been seeing, it's actually coming from the Ivy Hall, which is a little community that I live in, and they've been sending a story every month about somebody who's passed away, somebody who gave their life in service of their country, and I think that that's a really great way to remember people, because we don't get to have that inside knowledge so often about people who died or sacrificed.
Our freedom, I hardly can put it into words. I mean, the gratitude that I feel towards people who serve is tremendous. And, my father was a vet, and I'm just grateful for all they've done. And yeah, I think mostly our freedom, our liberty.
We fought for freedom, part of the Freedom Keepers. I mean, it's up to us now to do what we want to do with that freedom that they provided for us.
Normally on November 11th, thousands of people gather here at the National War Memorial in Ottawa to pay their respects to those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. But the pandemic has altered where and even how we choose to remember. So we took to the streets to see how this has affected you. Our question:
how has the pandemic changed how you mark Remembrance Day?
You know, I'm not sure. Typically I've been in school for Remembrance Day, so there's typically some sort of a Remembrance Day ceremony through the school. This year specifically, this is my first year in Ottawa for Remembrance Day, so I think that's pretty special, being in the capital city. I'm looking forward to some of the events that they're hosting here. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get together with a couple of my friends and go down to the Canadian War Museum, because on Thursday nights they have free admission.
I don't think it's going to stop me from coming out here. So I suspect that where we are today, I can't imagine a lesser turnout than last year.
It has not changed at all. I still take a moment to think about Remembrance Day, to think about the soldiers who fought for us to have what we have today. Yes, it can be a hard time, but we do what we can, and we have to reflect on the time that it takes.
Well, we should come to the cenotaph, and even last year, even though things were obviously not normal, but we usually just, as a couple, come and
pay our respects.
Pay our respects, yes, yeah, and we will this year as well.
Yes, it's the fact that we couldn't meet like we used to at our different places where we met, but now it's getting back to the point where we can. We're having an appointment. We're having a meeting at our Legion in Wedgeport on the 11th, and I appreciate that. I really enjoy that.
If you don't feel a level of indebtedness to these people and recognize Remembrance Day regardless, I mean, if you can get out and go to where Remembrance Day is being marked, I mean, I don't understand why people. To me, it kind of angers me when I hear opposition to that. I mean, it's I just don't understand. You know, I never, of course, was able to serve. I'm way too young, but just basically knowing what I know, I'm forever indebted to the men and women that served this country, gave us the freedom, lest we forget, right? Lest we forget.
At the end of the day, what's important is how you feel and what you believe.
The awareness is the most important thing. So I think whether virtually, whether in person, I think as long as there's meaning and campaigning and, the conversation is being held, then whether a pandemic, no pandemic, and hopefully in the future we'll figure out how to get through this, but the meaning has to be there and the awareness has to go on.
We will do it in conjunction with some of the people in our condo building, where we'll all go onto our balconies at the 11th hour, 11th day of November, and we will mark with a moment or two of genuine reflection and thought, and of course, silence out of respect.
Oh, that's a good one, because I'm pretty COVID conscious. I'm not sure. I'll see when the day comes. You know, I often do go to the cenotaph and stand with people to remember, but I do it at home too, and I think that's important. So see what the day brings.
I regret that we couldn't get together last year for Remembrance Day, and in fact we were just talking about that, about Remembrance Day for this year, believe it or not, just like literally in the last 30 minutes. So.
Yeah. Do you plan to go out and actually go down to a cenotaph or to celebrate with local veterans?
We usually always try our best.
We do.
Yeah, we worked for ourselves, so there were sometimes we weren't able to, but most definitely we'll be here this year.
I don't think the pandemic is changing much at all. We'll still be allowed to go outside. Last year it impacted us a little bit more. I would say because we were uncertain as to what we could do outside. Today we can certainly go at 11 o'clock and express our thanks.
Well, Remembrance Day for me is this Field of Crosses, because we can no longer get together and thousands of people at the Cenotaph on November the 11th, unfortunately. But having the Field of Crosses here allows individual people to come down and pay their respects individually or in family groups at a time when there aren't hundreds of people circulating around. So it does allow people to have that, and that's what I'm so happy to see the Field of Crosses for.
Yeah, it's going to be a different year for sure this year. Normally there's thousands of people down here. It's probably going to be different this year. We're not sure exactly what's going to happen.
Remembrance Day is marked a little bit differently these last couple of years due to COVID restrictions, social distancing, wearing of masks, and the gathering in public spaces restrictions. These last couple of years, Kelowna has not hosted November 11th ceremony. So our Field of Crosses opening ceremonies and sunset vigil on the 10th of this month have stepped into that gap, and is another way for the community to mark Remembrance Day.
For our next segment, we sent our cameras out across the country to give Canadians the opportunity to express their thoughts and gratitude to those who fought for us. Our question:
what is your message to Canada's war veterans?
God bless them all. They put their lives on the line for us, and I really think it's a shame that a lot more people don't honor them. And to see the banners on Main Street here in Yarmouth is a wonderful tribute to them, and I'm glad they're continuing doing that. Like they're doing across the country. A lot of the cities in the country are doing the banners to honor the veterans.
Thank you for everything you've done, and hopefully our future generations are willing to fight for the same things that you've fought for.
I recognize and I feel forever indebted with a heart of gratitude to the veterans, and that are past and still with us. So yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for working very hard to save our country and risking your life to go to war for us.
I think the Canadians have done real well for the veterans, and I appreciate that a whole lot. I have a brother who was killed in Italy, and they certainly do all they can for those people and for the veterans.
Canada's war veterans, we remember you. We always will remember you. We remember your service, we remember your sacrifice, and we remember your hope for the future. And we are the ones that are entrusted to carry forward your hope and your message for the future, for peace and prosperity for this country.
It's so hard to put into words, but just from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much on behalf of me and my young sons, and truly proud to be a Canadian, the way we do business throughout the world and help out when we can. Very, very humbling.
Keep the faith, I guess, because there are a lot of people that feel that we didn't do anything in Afghanistan, but we've certainly planted a seed there that seems to be catching on, and hopefully the people still in Afghanistan can carry it on.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you. You guys have done so much more for this country than a lot of people today. If it wasn't for you guys, we genuinely would not be where we are today.
Walking down a beautiful path by a beautiful lake in a beautiful country on my lunch hour, I can do that because some people fought really hard and died to let me have that kind of freedom. I don't know how the world would be differently if the Allies had lost.
I'm sorry we're not doing more.
Thanks so much for the service that you've given. It's brilliant.
And it's sad that we're still having a conversation that we should have done stuff a long time ago for all you've done for the country.
Sacrifices, time away from family.
If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be enjoying the freedoms that we have. So, bless you, bless everything you've done for us, and we always have to commemorate all the struggles and pain that they've been through. So, yeah.
Even though sometimes it seems like we don't realize or appreciate everything that they did previously, we do in the end.
Thank you for your service and the most genuine, from the heart message that I could possibly give. And we still remember who they were and how they fought and how proud our military heritage was, and we're very hopeful that it can be restored again to that level for the future. That's our message.
I feel empathy for them. We're talking about all the conflicts Canada's participated in, and it's hard to imagine the outcry by their veterans who felt sort of abandoned and left out.
Just a big thank you. Honestly, you guys do a lot for our country, and if I had to go into conscription right now, I think that'd be pretty crazy. So for people to be there by choice, I know I have a couple friends that have gone into service, and it takes a special person to be there for sure.
I don't think you can say thank you enough for their service, and stay safe, be safe, and we're here waiting for you and praying for you, and we'll support you as long as you're away.
100%. We're grateful for what you did, and for the next generation who carry on your legacy, it's because of you that we're doing it.
I hope we never forget. We should continue to honor them, and lest we forget should stick in all our minds.
My dad was a veteran. My brother was in the Army, so it's a great thing that they've done. They've offered a lot of sacrifices for our country, and all the best to them, for sure.
November 11th is not a national holiday, but it is a statutory holiday in many parts of the country. Some people feel making November 11th a national holiday would take away from its true meaning, while others could feel that having a holiday on that day would give Canadians a better opportunity to pay their respects. So, we took this question to you.
Should Remembrance Day be observed as a national holiday?
Absolutely yes. I will speak first. As a proud second-generation Canadian, I think it's of utmost importance that we remember our proud history, and in particular, all of the men and women who came before us and who gave so much at all levels so that we could be the people and society we are today, and especially those who gave the ultimate sacrifice.
So my feeling is I'm not 100% sure. I think the most important part is the education in schools so that nobody forgets. I'm not so certain that a stat holiday would benefit anybody. What will they do with that day? That's how I feel about that.
Well, I'm not sure that it should, because I feel that a lot of the older veterans are passing on now, and but we still do have the veterans from the Afghanistan wars, and so I think it should be observed, but I don't think it should be I'm not sure if it should be a national holiday.
I definitely think there should be an option where we could go and celebrate with others, but as well with a learning opportunity, learning what they did for us and what we can do to keep remembering.
I've never even been to a celebration because I'm at work.
Yeah, me too.
Yes, I believe that Remembrance Day should be reserved as a national holiday because they protect our country.
Yes, I believe it should be a national holiday. It's the least we could do. Unfortunately, the bad side or the downside to it is that too many of us just sit on the couch and watch TV all day long, get a free paid day off, and we don't really take a moment to reflect. We don't take a moment of silence at 11 o'clock. We just go about our lives getting paid for the day and not working.
Oh yes, it should be a national holiday. And that way all of Canada needs to be involved in celebrating and remembering the people who gave their lives in service. So no, it should be a national holiday, and all students should be encouraged to be a part of it too. So being a national holiday, then all students would be involved.
Believe it or not, I'm from Quebec. As an English speaker in the early days, there is no holiday there, but Remembrance Day is remembered in a different way. It's remembered in schools. Time is taken in the schools every year to take that on. Whether it's a holiday or not, I think people need to take the time to take that moment and reflect.
It probably qualifies as well as some of the other things that we're doing, but what do we have, 9 now?
10, I think.
10, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's certainly worthy of it.
Maybe take one of the others away.
Yeah. It's right up there.
It's right there. It should be. I think it should be. Yes.
Yeah, actually I was really surprised that it's not as recognized in Ontario as it is in Alberta. In Alberta, we have school off, like everything's closed. I was not expecting to have to go to school on Thursday, but I do, so that was definitely surprising to me, definitely out of the ordinary.
Absolutely. I mean, it's, name one other subject that's more important than freedom. Like, that's the top of the pyramid right there, so absolutely.
Yes, I think so. That would be great. Because it's a great thing to remember, to make people remember the ones that were killed in the war, like my brother. They should be remembered by a holiday and mentioned locally on all those people should be honored a great deal because they gave their life as young people for the country.
Yes, it should be.
Can you explain why you say that?
Because it's a remembrance of the soldiers that worked hard in the war and fought back for their country.
Yes, it should. No qualms about it. It definitely should be a national holiday. I don't understand why it isn't, I mean, what's more important than defending your country?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any notion that it shouldn't be, I'd be strongly opposed. I mean, again, wow, that's a tough question for me because I don't understand it ever being asked. Seriously. Canada, come on. Wake up.
Canada's war veterans in conflicts past and present have put themselves in harm's way on our behalf, and some have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And for others, the physical and mental scars remain to this day. So do you feel they're getting the respect they deserve? And what more could the federal government do about it? Our question.
How could the federal government best support our veterans?
It's a harder question because there's so many different areas that they could support. Veterans of today, mental health services, financial support if they require it, acknowledgement of the duties that they've done and what they have continuously done for Canada. Older veterans, same thing, mental health support, going through PTSD, everything that they've had to deal with from those significant traumas of being in war, and just allowing them to have peace of mind and letting them know that they're loved and included.
I don't think there should be ever any medical or physical injuries that do not get dealt with immediately, free of cost. Everybody should be supported in any way possible. I guess that would extend to if a veteran was having financial issues as well.
I think a lot of programs involving PTSD and that sort of thing. I know a lot of men that still suffer from it, and I don't think that kind of thing ever goes away. So I don't think that a penny should be saved when it comes to our veterans, and we should do everything that we can to support them and their families.
I agree, knowing actually my sister who's in uniform and a spouse that as well is in uniform, first responders, know just in reference to men and women in uniform, and know the reality of that PTSD that they suffer with, and I think it really has gone unnoticed. Though I must agree they are starting to take more note. People are standing up to have programs and things in place. So they have support inside of work and outside for what they need or family needs. So, but I still believe there's a lot more they could be doing. So, yeah.
Many of their needs are not out of line or unreasonable or beyond our financial means in this country. So there's this obligation on the federal government on behalf of the citizens of Canada to step up and honor that contract, that social contract. I'm volunteering for service, I'm putting my name on the line, I'm putting my life and my limbs and my future on the line for the service country wherever they might send me. I was also a reservist. My father was a Canadian Forces warrant officer in the 60s and 70s. We put made ourselves liable for wherever the government was going to send us. So is it not fair that it be reciprocated in proper care for the veteran's lifetime?
The Ministry of Veteran Affairs could do a better job, perhaps, to provide more housing subsidies and to assist our veterans, because we have to keep them happy as they grow older.
I think the federal government has not respected our veterans. I think a whole lot more needs to be done. Like, we can spend a lot of money on all kinds of issues, but when it comes to veterans, it seems to be a dead issue, which it shouldn't be.
The MPs should take a cut in pay and look after the veterans.
Yes. Yes, because they deserve a lot from this country. They've given a lot. Some of them have given their lives. We've lost thousands of soldiers over the years, and we should pay respect to them properly. We have a lot of them that are homeless because of mental conditions, lack of job, lack of support. And I don't think that's correct in a country like ours that have all of these resources available.
I think they really need to, re-look at what these men and women have done for our country and think of how they can best serve them after they've served for the government. And I know that they've come back with lots of issues or trauma, and I don't think we really understand what they've gone through. And I think we really need to look at what their needs are and give them what they need.
Thanks for watching this episode of Outburst on CPAC. If you have any comments about this show or any other show, you can find us on social media. You can also find us on our website at www.cpac.ca. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs Channel, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.